Hello and welcome back, and I've got a really lovely lady with me today, and I've known Penny for a long, long time, and she very kindly agreed to come on and do her talk and her walk with us, so it's really lovely. Now Penny Humphreys actually is now in Shropshire, and she is a licensed Louise Hay practitioner and teacher. She's also a healer and an energy reader, so we'll find out more about how she got on that path now. So hello Penny, and thanks very much for joining me. How did where were you born? Were you born in Shropshire? I know you live there now, but were you born there?
I was born in Shropshire in Longdon Common, not far from Shrewsbury. And when I was 6 months old, we moved to Lancashire, to Bury. So my formative years were in Bury. And I came home back to Shrewsbury when I was 5, and then went to school in New Street, which is the St George's School, which is now long gone. But I did come home with a very northern accent, to Bury, warm. But my mother decided she did not like the accent, so that got took out of me. But I had a normal childhood, two sisters, baby of them, so bossed and bullied about, but from an early age, I was always very happy to be on my own. I didn't need friends around me. I've always been, and still am, very much a loner. My own company is the best. I'm not saying I don't like being with people, but I very much enjoy my own company. Went to St George's School, then to Featherbed Lane School and Harlescott Secondary Modern School, following two sisters, and that was difficult. Well, I never forget ever going to the Harlescott School when I was 11, and the headmistress, Gaynor Richards, saying, "I hope you're not going to be like your two sisters, and you will work." That's a hard thing to follow. But the thing is, I liked school. I liked learning, and I liked school very much indeed. But when I was 12, we left Shrewsbury and went to live in Tushingham, just outside of Whitchurch. My parents had a pub there. So I went to a school, Malpas School. Everybody thought I was Welsh, the accent. And then from there, I went on to Chester College of Further Education. But after only being there for a few terms, I had a serious motorbike accident when I was 15. So that put an end to any further education for me. I did a shorthand and typing and business course. But the thing I'd always wanted to be was a nurse, always. When you're 5 years or even younger, what do you want to be when you grow up? A nurse, always a nurse. And I did try and achieve that. I went to do my SEN training at Crosshouses Hospital. And unfortunately, within the month of starting my training, I met my husband, that is now. And heart ruled head, and I came out of it because in those days, marriage and settling down, I was 18. And anyway, by the time I was 19, I'd had Sarah. So I did go back into nursing briefly in the 70s. I did nights duty at Shelton Hospital, but I've always wanted to do nursing and helping people. Hence Louise Hay. Because to me,
okay. So how did you? So you're married. You've got your small, your family. When did you start to get into holistic stuff? Was that something that came later, or was that something you always had a sort of fascination with?
I've always had a fascination with fairies, and I always felt there was a lot more than what there is, and I always had a sense of knowing things and not knowing why I knew them. But Sarah introduced me to angels, my daughter. I was a worrier. I was worried if I didn't have anything to worry about. And they went on holiday to Lewes in Cornwall, and she came home with a worry angel. I still got it. And you'd give all this angel worries. I carried it round for a week. This poor angel was probably worn out, but from there it grew. And Alison, my niece, Alison Timmings, was there doing Reiki and angels as well. Her and Sarah got talking, and I was introduced to you. to do my Reiki. Sarah bought me my Reiki 1 and 2 with you as a Christmas present. And that was it. It just took off.
And Alison went on to open the angel shop, didn't she? She opened a fabulous angel shop, and you used to, you know, and she sold crystals and she did colour therapy there. And you used to help out in that little shop as well, didn't you?
Well, it was Sarah and Alison, my daughter, who opened it together.
Yeah.
Sarah had a garage business as well, so she wasn't there as much as Alison was. But yes, they had to stop me buying half the stock, actually, and cards. But from there, it all grew. I mean, I did my Reiki 1 and 2 with you, and just plodded along. I didn't do a lot, really. Alison would say, "Oh, Penny, come and do your masters." No, I don't want to do that. And I keep thinking now how I got into Louise Hay. I can't remember. I just knew that, to me, if you had something wrong with you, there must be a reason why. If you had constant backache, constant headaches, or you got a cold every year, why? And I started trying to find out why. And of course I found Louise Hay, and that was it. Totally hooked.
So you found her in terms of, you found a book that she'd written?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what book was that? Which one was that?
You Can Heal Your Life.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it just, reading it was so many light bulb moments. It was just, oh my God, and I just carried on. And I started practicing what I was reading. And I was just totally turned, I couldn't believe that someone else believed what not believe, but knew what I believed, that there's an physical emotional connection. And for a long time, I read her book, and I always wanted to go and do it. So every time I went online, it was in America. I hadn't got hundreds and thousands of dollars to do that. And I went to a vision boarding exercise with Alison and Keith, and I kept on about it. And Keith said, "Oh, just go home, Penny, and Google it and find out." Oh, okay, it's only been in America. I did. And lo and behold, there was one in Birmingham. This was in January, I was doing this with Keith. This was in the July. And God, it's in Birmingham. I didn't care how much it cost, anything. I just got online, threw the housekeeping money at it, the savings, the lot. I just sold my car and booked. It was July 2016. And it was the best thing I ever did. Absolutely fascinating. I was lucky enough, Dr. Patricia Crane was the facilitator at the time, and I met some lovely, lovely ladies. And it's just completely unbelievable. But I came back and I never felt comfortable being in a big room with people. I can stand up and talk to people, but when it comes to practicing and doing the workshops, I didn't feel comfortable. And it wasn't until I watched Max Brown on your talk that I realised that I am a one-to-one person. It's your soul, isn't it? I listened to Max, and I thought, that's why I'm more comfortable. 1 or 2 people, I'm a happy bunny. But if it's more, I don't know, it's just very hard to explain. I don't connect. Yeah. But gradually I just started doing things for myself. Alison would ring up, "Penny, my friend's got this with her. Can I look in your Louise Hay book?" So obviously I did. But then it just went on from there, and I found that when I was meeting people, I was reading their energy then. I was thinking, you need a hug. There's something wrong. You're unhappy. I mean, I didn't go marching up to someone and say, "You're unhappy." I was working in Sainsbury's at the time, and I'd been doing my Reiki as well, practicing that, because I'd done my masters. Didn't want to teach, but I just enjoyed doing it. Loved sending to healing. That's one of my main things. I love sending to healing. But there was a young woman there, and she just looked so unhappy. I said, "I've got to say something. I really have." And she tells me to go away. She will. But I had a quiet chat with her, and I said, "Come and have some Reiki." And we got to know one another. I did a lot of Reiki, and I will pat myself on the back. I think I completely changed her life for her, because she was desperately unhappy where she was. She had no belief in herself, but by having the Reiki and the chats that we had, I restored that for her. She restored it herself. I did not, so that's the wrong way to say it. I gave her the tools to restore herself. She's now a teacher over in New Zealand.
Wow. You must feel so proud and happy about that, because, you know, as you say, you don't help people to, you're a stepping stone, aren't you? You give them those tools, and then it's up to them whether they take them or not. And if they take them, they can actually change their life. So it must have been great for you to then become, you know, the licensed teacher for Louise Hay, and do that work.
Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, as I say, I haven't been out in doing loads of workshops. I've done a few, but as I say, I feel much better doing one-to-one. But during all this, you realise I've got to start with myself. I was, before I was hopping around. I was doing this, spiritual healing, and all sorts of things. And I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, it starts with you. And I have to put myself right first, kind of thing. So that's what I've started doing. I've worked a lot on myself and built up my own self-esteem, and talked to other people and used how I felt to pass it over to people. And all of a sudden I found that psychometry, which is energy reading, I was at a friend's house and we were all doing different things. And I was amazed that I picked up this scarf, and I mean, energy healing, you pick up the energy, and I was so angry. And things that were coming in my head, I was looking around thinking, and I was writing them down. Anyway, we put it back and then carried on talking, and Christine had said, whose was the scarf? And I said, well, I've done that. And Jane sat at the side of me, said, I told her what I've got. I felt awful, but I told her. She said, oh, that's so factual. I gave that scarf my mother, and she threw it back at me. Why do I want that? It's horrible. Take it away from me. I don't like it. I don't like you. And I picked all that up. And that clicked then in my head as well. I mean, I don't walk around shops picking up energy off people, but if I sit down with someone and concentrate and listen, I pick things up. And also I get messages in my head sometimes when I'm doing a reading. And Mandy Powell has been brilliant. She's mentored, and you say what you get. It can be funny, it can be heartbreaking, but most of all, it's fun as well. But it helps people more than anything. It gives them a faith in themselves. You have to begin with yourself. You have to learn to love yourself. You have to, because if you don't love you, how can you expect others to love you? I'll never forget the first time when I was doing my Louise Hay, and I said to my sister, you have to start with yourself, Meagher. You have to learn to love yourself. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. But why? If you don't love yourself, how can you expect others to love you? If you can't love yourself, like yourself, take it from there and trust yourself. But you'd have thought I'd shot her. Asking her to love herself. But sorry.
Yeah, no, so that's very, very true. I mean, but unfortunately, a lot of people, especially born in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, and before that, they weren't taught to love themselves. It was like, it was, don't like yourself, don't love yourself, because that's vanity and all that. I mean, and that's all changing, which is fantastic. Yeah. But you then went on to learn Ho'oponopono. I'm
starting to do that now, and I'm absolutely fascinated with it. I think it was someone gave, you know, the 4 sayings of it, don't you? And I picked them up and I struggled with them because my memory's terrible. But I thought, this is interesting. I got a book and I read it and I thought, oh, this is it's fascinating me. Just those 4 phrases. So I've practiced them, and it's amazing how they help. But you have to just trust yourself, not any expectations, just literally trust what you're, the 4 sayings that, and I've sent for a course now that I want to do. Because it's, once I'm ready, I can pass it on. But you can't talk about something if you don't know anything about it. But I recommend anyone to look it up. But it's a hard word to say.
Because it's Hawaiian in its origin, isn't it? Yeah. So you're going to be doing this course. You're doing 1-to-1 when we get back. Are you going to be doing anything online, or are you just going to wait until you get back into seeing people in a physical way?
I prefer to see people in a physical way. I'm not a happy person with Facebook and online. I mean, I don't mind doing this with you. I just struggle with the technology of this. And yet I was a legal secretary for 20 plus years, and came from manual typewriter up to computer literate, yes. I love that. But anything like this, I'm more comfortable sat down with someone. I mean, if they want their handheld, you can hold it. If they want to be left alone, you can sit back. And to me, there's an energy there. Then there's the physical presence and the physical energy. And that's what people have to understand. You sometimes know when you walk in a room, you go in and you're uncomfortable. But then learning from Ho'oponopono, that's not the people in the room, that's you. There's something in you that is uncomfortable with that. So you start to clean, if that makes any sense. But to be with people is much better than the computer side of it. I mean, the granddaughter loves it. She's marvellous with it. And so Sarah. But mum's mum, older generation.
So when we get back to being able to see people in the physical form, where will you be doing that? You're going to be doing that from home, or do you think you'll be doing it from one of the centres, or where do you think?
Home and the centres. I was starting to set things up from Tesco's when all this went. In May, I was going to have a small workshop at Tesco's, but as you know, everything closed down. But I don't mind people. I've got a lovely room here. And also, I like to go out to the centres. There's a place in Oswald Street, isn't there? Time for You, Ben's place. It's and we've done cake and clarity with a lot of other readers and people. We love that. So we have to wait and see, really, won't we, do what it's going to bring.
I love that title, Cake and Clarity.
That was Alan and Robert. Brilliant. And Christine and Angela and Carol. We had such fun. It was absolutely, sometimes the energy was overpowering in the room. We did them at the beaten track as well. But we had fun. And I know people did love them. You know, it's not people that want to come and be told dire things, you know. They just want to, I think they want the clarity and confirmation. You know, and you say to someone about something, they'll go, oh yes, and you can see, it's lovely to see that light bulb moment when you say. I remember saying to one lady, do you often feel someone doing this on you? She said, oh yes. I said, no, that's your grandmother. And that's the message that would come over to me, tell her I'm stroking her forehead. And they just loved it. And the one lady I was talking to, I had this, could see this person, a lovely nanny, you know, in an armchair with her pinny on, sat. And I just said it, and there was, that's my grandmother. I said, well, they're just messages that come over. It's lovely to do that, and to just have the ability to do it. and as I say, the energy.
Yeah, because that brings a lot of comfort to people, isn't it? Especially when people have lost loved ones, and then, you know, for some people they think it's the end and that they'll never hear from them, and they can go through the rest of their life with a broken heart. But you know, when you get genuine readers who really know their stuff, and they can be so helpful in that grieving process. You know, just a little word or a little sign can take a lot of the grief off their shoulders as well. You know, it can take, you know, a lot of heaviness off the heart. Just, you know, one sort of thing that would only that person would have known and nobody else would have known, you know.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, if I'm talking to someone and doing a reading and I have nothing, I hear nothing or feel nothing, I'm just say, because I would never make anything up. It's just easy to say to someone, I'm sorry, but there's, you know, and their expectations, they think they're going to get a message like from their loved ones, but sometimes the spirit world will come to you if it wants to come to you. It's there if we need it, kind of thing. It's just, funny enough, my mum and I didn't have a brilliant relationship, but I seem to have a better relationship with her now than I did when she was alive, which is, to me, makes a lot of sense. To other people, they think, you know, I've lost the plot. But that's, and if I need any guidance, I ask. I am not ashamed to ask, even if it's, I'll ask spirit, or I'll ask someone if I needed advice from you. I come out and ask. There's a lot of people who won't do that, but unless you ask, you're never ever going to learn anything.
And I think that goes back, doesn't it, Penny, to when, you know, the way, you know, people, older generation, and I include myself in that, is that it was, you should never ask for help. You should be able to do it yourself or get on with it. It was just, you know, stiff upper lip and just get on with it and things.
Yes.
And I am so pleased, you know, when, you know, you're talking about your mother, but, you know, we would never in our generation say, you know, in adulthood to our parents, we love you every day. But the young people are doing it now. They're doing it online. You know, and I think that's wonderful, because I think the more people can open up about their feelings and emotions, the less problems they'll have as they get older as well.
Well, my mother was completely undemonstrative. A hug, oh, a kiss on the, oh, you could, even now, I can more or less hear her saying, well, you're too right there, Penny. No, I don't. But that was, and it's as you get older, you realise and learn to accept that my parents parented me to the best of their ability.
Yes.
I parented my children to the best of my ability. But the one thing I've always said to them, you were loved, and you still are loved. But I think if people would take time out and love people more, love themselves, and just, if they don't actually physically word it to them, say it in their mind, I love you. It's a nicer place. You don't have to go around bear hugging people, but just to look and a silent I love you, it makes an amazing thing. It takes the harshness out of life as well. And smiling, always smile. I also once, someone said to me, they gave me a compliment. And I went, oh, I did this whole thing. And she said, excuse me, I have just paid you a compliment. That, what you've just done is put it back, that's very rude. And I just looked at her and I said, well, I'm sorry. She said, if you're given a compliment, accept it and thank. She said, because by saying, well, this whole thing, that's very rude. And I suddenly thought about it and I thought, that's so true. Well, you see, we were taught that was vanity. And we shouldn't, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't like that. Now it's all changing. I mean, my granddaughter, Abby, she hugs. Karen, my niece, hugs. But we don't. And it's very difficult at times to initiate the hug. I'm trying, I do learn. And to say to someone, I love you. I think I say it to my husband, I don't say to anyone. I do silently. Yeah. But it's all time, and that's the trouble nowadays. People don't take the time for themselves, which is important.
Yeah, yeah. I think this pandemic and it has allowed people, some people, to take that little bit of time and to also sort of think about what's important to them as well, you know, and I think it's also given some people, you know, some people have been forced to make changes that maybe
Yes.
they never thought they would ever have to make, and
Yeah.
some people now want to make changes because of maybe having that time. I mean, you've had a lot of changes in your life, you know, obviously from, you know, moving from Lancashire back to Shropshire, and then, you know, going in the nursing and then getting married and having your kids and then doing the legal secretary for 20 years and then getting into this side and also getting into, you know, doing the courses and the workshops that you do. And I know that people who have had readings from you and healing from you always sing your praises because you're such a kind, giving person. So, you know, for people just now, Penny, who maybe be watching this, who maybe be stuck somewhere or feeling that, you know, this pandemic has made changes to them, do you have any advice for people who feel that they've got to make changes, but that change might be a wee bit difficult for them?
Take the leap of faith. We will never be let down. There's always someone holding your hand. I'm not talking religion. I'm talking angels, if you wish. Unless we ask our angels, they won't help. So just say, angels, help me through this time, hold my hand. And have faith that it will work out. If it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, accept the fact there was a reason for that. The more we push at things, the more we try and grab at things, the universe won't, they'll take it away. If we just accept it, that door will close, but you can be sure another will open. And just be kind to yourself, not other people, be kind to yourself, love yourself. You're a lovely person, and you have to tell yourself that. I mean, there are times when I get in a temper with myself and I go, whoa, you're a lovely, kind person. Believe that. And that's what you have to do. And it's just, find a book that you enjoy reading and read, hey, love yourself, and learn that. It opens such pleasure. Sit and listen to music. And I always say to someone, try to change just one thing. It doesn't matter what it is, the side of bed you get out of, the shoe you put on first. Try and change something and see what happens. The end of the world probably not happening. A lot of people, it's fear.
Yeah.
Just stick with the fear. Accept the fact, yes, you are going to be fearful. It doesn't matter. It's normal. If you try and go, I shouldn't train like this, that's not normal. Your body will probably screech at you and do something, give you bad headaches, bad back, bad feet. Talk to your body. That is something I say to everyone. It's your body, it's your mind, talk to it. I talk to my body all the time. If something happens, I'll say, excuse me, why are you hurting, tummy? And if I have an answer, I have an answer. If not, I've just had a tummy ache. It's just accepting the fact it's your body. For years, June, I know this might sound a bit silly, I thought my mind was someone else's, that I had no control over my thoughts. It's a shock. I do. They're my thoughts. It's my body now. And I do talk to it. And I talk to my mind and my ego. I'll say, excuse me, just sit in the corner a minute. I'm doing something. That's what we have to believe, that we are our own person. But we will never, never be let down. There'll always be a hand to be held, always.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, thank you, Penny. You know, it's always a pleasure to be in your company. And you're on Facebook, aren't you, if anybody wanted to get in contact with you?
I'm not on Facebook, I'm on Messenger.
On Messenger, so
On
under
Messenger. I've come off Facebook. I'm not happy with it. So, and because other people have said, oh, don't do this. I thought, no, it's what I want to do.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm
And
on, I'm on Messenger. I love Messenger. I've got email as well, but they can contact you. I'll talk to anyone if they want it. Just a phone call or this, or I don't mind at all. You know, if I can help someone, I will. Anyway, I like to chat, as you can tell. Yeah, I do like to chat. So yeah, anyone's very, very willing to
oh
get in
no,
touch.
that's wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much for your time today, Penny. It's been an absolute joy, as always, as our encounters with each other. It'll be really good to see you again, and
I'm just looking forward to that
yeah,
meeting up.
and
Yeah.
I'll hopefully see you very soon. So
Yes.
thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank
Take care. Thank
you. Yeah.
you. Bye bye.